There's a shift happening, Capricorn. Not everyone will feel it. Not everyone was meant to. But you. You've always known when the ground moves beneath the surface, before the world even hears the sound. Because there's something ancient about your energy. It's the kind of energy that builds kingdoms in silence, that survives winters others don't even prepare for. And now, the universe is moving. And it's moving in your direction. The money is real. Yes. I said it. What's coming is not a fantasy. It's not a maybe. It's the result of spiritual contracts you've kept, loyalties you've honored, seeds you planted in seasons of drought. But here's the part no one wants to admit. This blessing won't come alone. Because when abundance arrives, so does exposure. And what's being exposed is someone you never expected to be against you. There's a betrayal, Capricorn. And it's not loud. It doesn't scream. It smiles. It shares meals with you. It asks how your day was. And in the same breath, it buries your name beneath whispers you were never meant to hear. You might feel the chills now. That's your soul remembering the moment your spirit picked up on something off. You couldn't name it then. But you will now. Because in the same week, maybe even in the same breath, you'll receive money that shifts your life. And a truth that shifts your soul. Let me be clear. This isn't punishment. This is precision. This is the divine revealing not just what was hidden from you, but who you were always meant to be when you had nothing left to lose. And when this truth arrives, when the money touches your hands and the mask falls from the face you once trusted, you won't break. You won't beg. You won't collapse. You will rise. And you will rise with a power no one can take. Capricorn, this isn't just your moment to receive. This is your moment to become someone even you didn't know you were becoming. So stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, you're going to understand why the money is finding you now, who has been working against your rise, and how this betrayal will awaken the greatest version of you. Let's begin. Part 1. The energy you planted in silence. Capricorn, let me ask you something only you can truly answer. How many times have you built in silence while the world watched someone else get the credit? You didn't argue. You didn't demand the spotlight. Because something inside you always knew. The real work isn't done in applause. It's done in the quiet. In the moments where no one sees how much it costs you to keep going. You've sown energy into the soil of your life like a disciplined gardener who doesn't plant for the season, but for the legacy. While others sprinted toward recognition, you stayed in the shadows. You chose integrity over approval, truth over trends, and effort over excuses. It's not because you don't feel tired. It's because you don't allow that tiredness to become your story. Let's be honest. Capricorns are often misunderstood, even punished, for their strength. People think you're cold, detached, hard. But the truth, you've just had to survive things no one knows about. You've been let down by the very people you carried. You've had your heart broken while still showing up for others. And still, you kept planting. Not because you were sure it would bloom, but because not planting felt like giving up. And giving up has never been in your blood. Now listen closely. That energy you buried beneath discipline, beneath resilience, beneath all the times you chose silence over retaliation. It's blooming. But not just as money. Not just as material success. This energy is returning as proof. Proof that every no you swallowed, every yes you gave without expectation, every time you carried others while bleeding inside, the universe never forgot. But here's the twist. The abundance is not the reward. You are. The real transformation isn't in the number on your bank account. It's in the clarity you've gained. The backbone you've built. The sense of self that no amount of betrayal can now break. The energy you planted in silence is what's holding the door open now. You thought you were just surviving, but you were activating something ancient within you. Capricorn, you weren't waiting. You were preparing. Life lesson from part 1. Your silence was not empty, it was sacred preparation. In a world that rewards noise, you chose stillness. And now that everything is rising, so are you. Part 2. The echo of abundance has arrived. Capricorn, abundance doesn't always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes, it arrives as a shift in the air, a calm before movement, a sense that something invisible has clicked into place. And if you're honest with yourself, you've been feeling that shift for a while now. Even before the numbers began to change, even before the opportunities started surfacing again. You felt it first as a vibration in your gut, as if the universe was whispering, "It's time. Time to collect what was always yours. Not just money, but validation, balance, and freedom." You see, the work you've done didn't just produce results. It released an energy field around you. And now that field is attracting what matches it. Not what's convenient, not what's quick, but what is right. This is not a random payout. It's a spiritual transaction. The kind of blessing that only arrives after endurance has been tested, after character has been forged, after you've proven you won't trade your soul for temporary comfort. The abundance is coming because you've matured into someone who can hold it. And the universe knows that now. But here's the part most people don't understand, and you do. Real abundance doesn't just arrive in dollars or bank statements. It arrives in the form of alignment. Suddenly, people speak to you differently. Respect follows you even in silence. Doors open with less resistance. Not because the world has changed, but because your frequency has. And now, everything around you is responding to that shift. Your past efforts are echoing forward. Even that moment you considered giving up and didn't is now calling abundance toward you. Even the hours you worked when no one noticed, they're reverberating into opportunities. Every silent act of integrity is now speaking for you behind closed doors. Capricorn, you didn't just earn money, you earned momentum. But don't be surprised if this shift unnerves you. Abundance can be uncomfortable when you've been living in survival mode. When you're used to fighting for scraps, the feast can feel threatening. But I'll tell you something many will never say aloud. You don't need to apologize for your elevation. You've sacrificed too much, given too freely, and waited too long to shrink now. Don't mistake this season for luck. It is repayment. In full. And with interest. Some people will try to convince you that you changed. Let them. You didn't change. You became. This abundance isn't the result of shortcuts. It's the result of showing up when no one was clapping, of loving people who didn't return the same, of investing in dreams that looked foolish to others. And now, the return is here. Are you ready to receive it? Because what's arriving is not a test. It's confirmation. Confirmation that your energy was never wasted, that your discipline never went unnoticed, and that the universe does, in fact, honor those who walk with quiet integrity. This is only the beginning. The echo is growing louder, and very soon, what was once invisible will become undeniable. You won't have to prove anything. The results will speak for you, and no one will be able to silence what your energy has already called into motion. This is the echo of abundance, Capricorn, and it has your name carved into its arrival. You were always going to arrive here. The only surprise is how ready you are to handle it. Now stand tall, because the next sound you hear might just be opportunity knocking. And this time, it's not walking away. Life lesson from part 2. Abundance is not about being lucky, it's about being in alignment. You don't receive what you chase. You receive what you are. And when your actions, intentions, and integrity match your inner truth, the universe has no choice but to respond. You've become someone who no longer waits for permission to thrive. Part 3. The hidden hand that feared your rise. Capricorn, not every enemy comes dressed like a villain. Some come smiling. Some come needing you. Some come calling you friend. And the most dangerous ones? They're not out to destroy you completely. They just want to keep you small. Because your rise, your growth, your quiet power, it exposes what they've refused to become. Sometimes, betrayal doesn't feel like a knife. It feels like a subtle shift. A missed call. A strange look. A compliment that stings more than it soothes. And before you even name it, you feel it. That someone you trusted is no longer rooting for you. They're competing with you. But here's what they'll never admit. Your success makes them uncomfortable not because of jealousy, but because it holds up a mirror. A mirror to their laziness, their fear, their lack of growth. You didn't do anything wrong. You just kept growing. And in doing so, you outgrew their comfort zone. What starts as subtle distance turns into quiet sabotage. Little things. Withholding information. Planting doubts in your path. Pretending they don't notice your wins. They'll say they're busy. They'll act unbothered. But deep down, they're watching every step you take. Because your rise feels like their decline. Capricorn, let me be clear. This betrayal didn't come out of nowhere. It came from someone who watched your discipline, but couldn't match it. Who admired your strength, but resented what it revealed about their own weakness. They feared your rise because it meant being left behind. And instead of rising with you, they tried to clip your wings before you could fly too far. And maybe the hardest part is this. You would have never left them. You're loyal like that. You would have brought them with you. But not everyone deserves a front row seat to your success. Now you see it. Now the patterns make sense. The things you brushed off before, they were warnings. And the universe was never punishing you. It was protecting you. It let you feel the sting early, so you wouldn't be wounded later when the stakes were higher. Let go of the illusion, Capricorn. This person wasn't meant to walk with you into this new season. They were the test. A test to see if you'd choose attachment over alignment. And you passed. Because now you're here. Clearer, stronger, and no longer willing to shrink. To make others comfortable. So let them go. Not with anger. Not with revenge. But with clarity. Because your life is too valuable to keep explaining your light to those who preferred your shadows. Life lesson from part 3. The people who fear your rise were never with you, they were only with your limits. Let them fall away. Not everyone who starts with you is meant to finish with you. And sometimes, the betrayal is not the end of your story. It's the removal of what could have ruined your future. Part 4. The mask will slip and you'll see the truth. Capricorn, there comes a moment in every powerful transformation when pretending can no longer survive. And that moment is now. You may have suspected it for some time. You may have brushed it off, given the benefit of the doubt, told yourself not to be so guarded. Because you wanted to believe the best in them. But the truth has a way of surfacing when you're finally ready to see it. It won't happen in a dramatic scene. Not with shouting or confrontation. It'll happen quietly. A comment that doesn't land right. An energy shift that you feel before anything is said. You'll hear a word you've heard before. But this time, it cuts different. You'll notice they celebrate you, just a little too late. Or not at all. You'll feel it when you share good news, and they look down. Or when your joy is met with forced politeness, not genuine pride. And that's when the mask begins to slip. Because no matter how clever someone is, they can't fake what they don't feel forever. You'll start connecting the dots. The backhanded compliments. The strange silences when you were shining. The way they turned others away from you behind closed doors. Only to smile in your face the next day. Capricorn, you are ruled by Saturn. Time, structure, wisdom. You don't just sense betrayal. You read it like a pattern over time. And now, the pattern is clear. This person was never clapping for you. They were measuring how far ahead you got. And now that you're rising, they can't hide their discomfort anymore. But here's the beautiful part. You don't need revenge. You don't even need confrontation. The exposure itself is the closure. Because once the mask falls, once you see them clearly, you can never unsee it. You no longer need explanations. You no longer need proof. Your intuition, your body, your spirit. They've all confirmed what your heart was hesitant to accept. And though it may ache, this clarity is the gateway to your next level. The truth might sting, but it also sets you free. You finally understand why their energy never felt fully clean. Why your spirit always hesitated, even when your mind made excuses for them. And now, you don't need to explain your distance. Your peace will speak for itself. Capricorn, Don't waste time trying to fix what was built on pretense. This person was part of your past, not your future. You were meant to outgrow their comfort, not apologize for your evolution. So when the mask slips, don't rush to pick it up for them. Let it fall. Let the truth stand. And let it remind you that discernment is not a lack of compassion. It's the highest form of self-respect. Life lesson from part 4. Clarity is not cruelty. It's alignment. When the mask falls, don't mourn the illusion. Celebrate the truth. Because knowing who someone really is frees you to become who you were always meant to be. Part 5. The wound that awakens your power. Capricorn, betrayal cuts deep. Not because it destroys you, but because it wakes you. It forces you to see what you didn't want to admit. It drags truth out from the shadows and lays it bare at your feet. And in that raw, unfiltered moment, you have a choice. Collapse or rise. You see, you weren't betrayed because you were weak. You were betrayed because someone saw your strength and hoped to break it before it became uncontainable. They sensed it long before you fully stepped into it. The quiet authority, the unwavering focus, the terrifying calm you carry even in chaos. And maybe you didn't see it in yourself yet, but they did. So they tried to wound you before you realized what you were. But here's what they didn't calculate. Capricorn doesn't crumble under pain. Capricorn transforms through it. Because when you're born under this sign, you don't just survive betrayal. You use it as blueprint. You study it. You feel every part of it. You don't rush to escape it. You let it teach you. And then you rise. Not with vengeance, but with clarity. The pain becomes structure. The scar becomes a strategy. What they meant to use against you becomes the very thing that strengthens you. Capricorn, your power is not loud. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand. It accumulates. Slowly, silently, until one day, it becomes undeniable. And it's in that silence, in that sacred rebuilding, that your true self is forged. This wound, as painful as it is not your ending. It's your edge. The place where the old version of you dissolves, and the unshakable one emerges. You may have lost innocence. You may have lost trust. But you gained something even more valuable. Vision. Now, you see people clearly. Now, you hear energy before words. Now, you don't second guess what your gut is telling you. This is your becoming. Not in spite of the wound, but because of it. And one day, you'll look back at this moment not with bitterness, but with reverence. Because this was the moment you stopped being what the world expected, and became what your soul always knew you could be. Let it hurt. Let it strip away the illusion. And then let it awaken a version of you, so powerful, so anchored, that no mask, no lie, and no betrayal can ever shake it again. Life lesson from part 5. The betrayal wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to wake you. Let the pain become your teacher. Let the scar become your seal. Because when you rise from this, you won't just be healed, you'll be unstoppable. Part 6. The miracle you didn't ask for. Capricorn, the most powerful miracles are the ones you never ask for. They arrive in the quiet, in the space between letting go and moving on, when your hands are no longer clenched in desperation, but open in acceptance. You didn't beg for this. You didn't cry out for rescue. You didn't need a dramatic breakthrough. You just kept going. And that, Capricorn, is what summoned the divine. Because the universe doesn't always answer our words. It responds to our alignment. It recognizes the soul who stays steady when storms come. The one who keeps building after loss. The one who loves carefully after being hurt. The one who chooses integrity even when no one is watching. And when you become that version of yourself, the miracle finds you, not as a reward, as a reflection. It may show up in the form of a message, a call you didn't expect, an offer you gave up waiting for, a door you thought had long been closed. It may come through someone who's not even aware. They're delivering something sacred to you, Or it may come silently, a sudden peace that arrives like a blanket over your spirit. And for the first time in a long time, you breathe without tension in your chest. Whatever form it takes, you'll recognize it. Not because it's flashy, but because it carries truth. You'll feel it in your bones, like a missing piece finally falling into place. But here's the deeper truth. This miracle didn't appear because you did everything right. It appeared because you became someone who could carry the weight of it. You grew. You healed. You surrendered. And that surrender created space. Not a void of weakness, but a container of strength. Capricorn, you've lived long enough believing you had to earn everything. Work harder. Prove more. Endure longer. But this moment is not about earning. It's about receiving. And that might be the hardest thing for someone like you. To trust that sometimes you don't have to do more. You simply have to be still enough to let what's already yours find its way home. So if you feel something shifting now, if signs are showing up again and again, if the right people suddenly appear, if ideas come rushing like floodgates breaking, don't second guess it. Don't shut it down with logic. Don't talk yourself out of believing it's possible. This is the miracle arriving. On time. With intention. And only for you. All you need to do is trust that you are no longer who you were when you planted the seeds. You are now the version of you who is ready to harvest. Life lesson from part 6. Miracles don't respond to begging. They respond to becoming. The moment you stop chasing healing is the moment healing starts chasing you. You don't have to fight for what's already aligned with your truth. Sometimes, your growth is the prayer, and your peace is the answer. Part 7. The temptation to let the betrayer back in. Capricorn, the hardest battle doesn't happen when someone betrays you. It happens when they come back. Not always with an apology, not always with honesty, but with a familiar tone. A shared memory. A version of softness you remember before the wound. And suddenly, the part of you that always sees the best in people starts questioning what you already know. You wonder, maybe they've changed. Maybe they didn't mean to hurt me. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe. That's where the real test begins. Not of your strength, but of your boundaries. Because Capricorn, your loyalty is sacred. But sacred doesn't mean limitless. You've outgrown the version of yourself who made excuses for pain. The one who held the door open, even after someone proved they couldn't walk through it without burning the floor behind them. But now they're knocking again. Maybe quietly, maybe publicly, maybe through someone else's words, or maybe just with energy you can't shake. And you feel it. That old pull. That inner conflict between compassion and protection. Capricorn, listen closely. The universe didn't show you the truth so you could ignore it later. It exposed the mask, so you could choose peace over pattern. And yes, you are capable of forgiveness. You are capable of grace. But forgiveness doesn't always require reunion. Sometimes, it just requires release. Because letting someone back in after betrayal, without true change, without accountability, without deep transformation, isn't compassion, it's self-abandonment. And you've done enough of that in this lifetime. The temptation to go backward often comes right before the breakthrough that pulls you forward. Don't let nostalgia rewrite the pain. Don't let loneliness pretend to be love. Don't let someone's regret become your responsibility. You didn't walk away because you stopped caring. You walked away because you started caring about yourself more. And that was growth. Now is not the time to blur the line. Now is the time to honor the clarity you bled for. Life lesson from part 7. Some doors don't need to be slammed. They just need to stay closed. Forgiveness doesn't mean access. You can wish someone peace from a distance and still protect your own. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is not who you let back in, but who you finally choose to live without. Part 8. Building a life no one can steal. Capricorn, there comes a moment after betrayal when you finally stop asking why did they do it, And start asking, what will I build now that they're gone? Because the truth is, they didn't just break trust. They broke access. And now, you are free. This time, you're not building from desperation. You're not building to prove yourself. You're not building just to survive. You're building from clarity, from wisdom, from scars that have turned into strategy. And that changes everything. Before, you gave too much away. Your energy, your time, your loyalty. Pieces of yourself scattered into hands that never valued their weight. But not anymore. Now, every brick you lay is intentional. Every choice is measured. Every boundary is firm. This isn't about creating walls out of fear. It's about creating foundations that can't be shaken. You've learned that not everyone deserves a seat at your table. And now, you're no longer afraid to eat alone while you build a bigger one. What does a life no one can steal look like? It looks like financial stability that isn't tied to someone else's approval. It looks like emotional peace that doesn't depend on validation. It looks like dreams that no one else gets to dictate. It looks like resilience so strong that even if someone tries to take what's yours, they can't touch what's within you. Because here's the truth. Anyone can try to copy your moves. Anyone can try to compete with your success. But no one can replicate your spirit. That's the part they could never reach. That's the part they underestimated. And now, that's the part you're finally building from. This next chapter of your life will be untouchable, not because challenges won't come, but because nothing outside of you defines the inside anymore. The betrayal may have stolen illusions, but it gifted you the greatest blueprint of all, to create a life where nothing can be stolen again. Life lesson from part 8. True security isn't about locking others out. It's about building a foundation so strong that no loss, no betrayal, and no envy can shake it. What you build from clarity and self-respect will always outlast what you built from fear and attachment. And that is the life no one can take from you. Part 9. The power of discernment. Capricorn, after pain comes clarity. And after betrayal comes something even more valuable than money. Discernment. Discernment is not suspicion. It's not paranoia. It's the quiet knowing you carry now. The radar that was sharpened in the fire of experience. Before, you wanted to believe words. You wanted to give the benefit of the doubt. You wanted to see the best in people, even when their actions whispered otherwise. But now, you see with different eyes. You hear with a deeper sense. You don't just listen to what's being said. You read what's left unsaid. And that ability, Capricorn, is priceless. Because discernment protects what strength alone cannot. Strength helps you endure storms, but discernment helps you avoid them in the first place. Think about it. How many times did you feel something was off, but ignored it to keep the peace? How many times did you sense the shadow in someone's smile, but silenced your intuition out of loyalty? Those days are over. Now, you trust yourself. Now, when your gut says pay attention, you pause. When your spirit says step back, you listen. When someone's energy doesn't match their words, you don't excuse it. You note it. This is not bitterness. This is wisdom. And wisdom doesn't make you harder. It makes you clearer. Your discernment will not just protect you from betrayal. It will guide you toward the people and opportunities that truly match your soul. Because not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. But not everyone who challenges you is your enemy either. And now, you'll know the difference. This new clarity is what makes your rise unstoppable. You won't waste time explaining yourself to the wrong people. You won't waste energy carrying those who can't walk beside you. And you won't waste trust on masks. Capricorn, this is Saturn's gift to you. To see reality as it is. And to thrive not in illusions, but in truth. And truth, once seen, can never be unseen. Life lesson from part 9. Discernment is the crown you earn after betrayal. It's not about doubting everyone. It's about finally trusting yourself. Your intuition is no longer a whisper. It's your compass. And with it, you'll never lose your way again. Part 10. The final expansion. You were always the key. Capricorn, the universe has tested you with scarcity. It has tested you with betrayal. It has tested you with silence. And each time, you thought the breakthrough was somewhere outside of you. In the money that hadn't yet come. In the miracle you couldn't yet see. In the loyalty you wished someone would finally give back. But the truth was never out there. It was always in you. You were the seed and the soil. The student and the teacher. The wound and the healer. The money is real, yes. The betrayal is real, too. But neither defines you. What defines you is how you turned both into fuel. Capricorn, expansion is not just about more wealth, more success, more recognition. Expansion is about becoming so aligned that no loss can shrink you, and no gain can inflate you. You rise steady, grounded, unmoved by illusions of power, because you've already met power within yourself. This is why no one can take it from you, because it was never theirs to give. It was yours all along. The final expansion happens not when you receive what you've been waiting for, but when you realize you were never waiting. You were preparing. And now, you don't chase. You don't beg. You don't cling. You attract. You allow. You choose. Because the truth is this: you were never missing anything. You were becoming everything. The betrayer thought they could delay you. Life thought it could break you. But all it did was strip away what you didn't need. So you could finally see who you've been all along. And who you are now is someone untouchable. Not because nothing can hurt you, but because nothing can stop you. Capricorn, you are the key. Not the money. Not the miracle. Not the approval of anyone who couldn't see you before. You. And the moment you embrace that, everything that's meant for you unlocks without resistance. Life lesson from part 10. The final key to abundance is realizing you are the source. Money will come. Miracles will appear. But the truest wealth is knowing you are already whole. When you stop searching for power outside yourself, you find it was never missing. It was always you. Conclusion: you are the storm and the stillness. Capricorn, now you've seen it. The money, the betrayal, the miracle. They were never random events. They were the map. The roadmap that carried you here, to this very moment of awakening. The abundance that arrives in your life is not a handout. It's the echo of every step you took when no one was watching. It's the repayment of every sleepless night you survived. Every sacrifice you made in silence. Every time you chose discipline over distraction. The betrayal wasn't the end of you. It was the unveiling. The reminder that not everyone deserves access to your heart. And that sometimes, losing someone is the exact freedom you needed. And the miracle, it didn't come because you begged for it. It came because you became the kind of soul who could carry it without breaking. You are both the storm and the stillness. You are the discipline and the destiny. And everything you thought was against you was only shaping you. So now, Capricorn, the question is no longer, will I survive? You already did. The question is, what will I create with the power I now carry? Because the truth is, nothing can be taken from you anymore. Not your vision. Not your strength. Not your clarity. This is the life you're building now. The one no betrayal can shake. No envy can undo. No loss can diminish. So step forward, Capricorn. Not with fear. Not with doubt. But with the calm certainty of someone who knows. I was always the key. And I always will be. Final life lesson. Abundance, betrayal, and miracles are not separate, they are threads of the same story. And the story is this: you are unshakable. You are chosen. And your power is no longer hidden. If you are a Capricorn and you've felt this truth stir in your chest, let this moment be your confirmation. Leave a comment. I rise stronger, and I claim what is mine. And remember, this is only the beginning. If you want to keep walking this journey of wisdom, transformation, and power with me, make sure you subscribe to Zodiac Secrets Revealed. Because the next chapter of your story, Capricorn, is not just survival. It is destiny fulfilled.